Hey everyone, this is Mike of Music Jotter. If you're new to this channel, I'm the developer of a composer-led music notation software that's aimed to be easy to use and powerful and highly accessible for you. I'm going to demo just how powerful this software is in this video, so make sure you stick around. Because if you are struggling to make your music sound more natural, I really believe that learning the art of music notation will help you drastically with your music compositions. So you can watch how I notate some pretty difficult works in Music Jotter from some composers from the past, such as Beethoven and Chopin, specifically in this video. I will also do Rachmaninoff and some more Chopin probably in the next video. I'm going to see if this can be a series, depending on your feedback. I will also be tapping into their thinking and creative process along the way. By associating music notation with how it sounds, it will help you improve your music drastically. When I first started to compose music way back when I was 14, I knew I wanted to write music, but I had no idea how or where to begin. So I got out my old piano music book and I literally copied down notes into Music Magic, which was my first notation editor. So I hit the playback and yeah, I know it's really bad, but it's not even my composition, so who cares? It also sounds really robotic and unnatural. I mean, I clearly didn't even know how to copy it down correctly. I really didn't have any concept of time signatures, but this still did a few things for me. For one, it helped me see how notation could sound and work. It's actually similar to learning how to read and comprehend what you're reading. This also helped me see how putting down notes can create a sound and a story. So tell me, how did you get started with music composition? Did you take music theory classes or did you just experiment like how I did? Let me know in the comments below, I'm curious. But the bottom line is that if you are struggling to give character to your music and you want to make it catchy, learning the tricks of music notation can help you out. Of course, the biggest thing affecting your music would be your skill level. It's not even mine. Everyone here is at a different skill. I swear, that's not even mine. I copied that down in the piano book. But look, everyone here is at a different skill. And in order to get better technically, the hours you put into creating music will help you improve. But I'm also a firm believer that if you neglect music notation, then being able to write good music is going to be hard. Because being able to put your ideas down on paper accurately, especially for a performer, is a big part of being a musician. So now, let's see what went on in the mind of Beethoven when he notated his piano Sonata Pathetique. What you can do is you can double click to add a measure, like this, or you can even highlight multiple measures by shift clicking, right click, and then add measures, and it'll duplicate the amount of measures that you highlighted. So that's a quick way of getting started. And then very easy to create a track is to click on a measure, right click, and then just add track. And you can add multiple tracks too by highlighting multiple tracks like this, right click, and then you can add tracks, and then you can duplicate those tracks. So this is a quick way of getting started. So I'm going to actually delete these because this is a piano sonata and there's only 2 tracks in this case. Okay. So I'm only going to score, well, I'll see. Yeah, I'll just score all 4 of these measures. I'll probably fast forward some of this footage. The next thing we need to do is make sure it's in C minor. So just click on the first measure here. Click on the edit tab, which is already checked. Key and time signature. And let's check our time. Let's check our time signatures. 4/4 time, common time, and just make sure we have 3 flats, just to make sure that we're in C minor. Okay, so good to go. Very simple. Now we want to make sure we have a piano brace. So again, we're on the edit tab. The edit tab will take care of a lot of things. In this case, we want this brace here. So what you do is you highlight the tracks that you want to brace or bracket, and then you just click on this brace button here, and you can toggle it on and off. And let's say you wanted the brace, but you didn't want the bar lines, you can also just click on bar line here, and you can toggle that as well. So it's up to you on how you want to format this. Okay, so let's get started. So I'm only going to score the rhythms because this would take too long to do if I was going to do every single note. So let's do the rhythms. In order to tie, you just highlight, hover over a note and press T. For dotted notes, just hover over a note and press the period button. Okay, and now we're running out of room. For this measure, you can see that we're running out of room. So what we can do is go to Layout tab, click on this locked layout, and you can resize measures in Music Jotter. And you can also move them to, if you move it off of the measure like this, it actually moves them to different systems. Okay, so in this case, let's do it like this. Okay, whoops, this was a mistake because this actually has to be a 16th note. So I'm going to highlight. I'll eventually have a way where you can just change the rhythm, but right now I don't have that coded, so I have to delete it. These are all 30-second notes here, like that. Okay, great. Oh, my mistake. That's actually a 16th note. Ugh. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to score all 4 of these. I'm going to just score the first measure, and then I'm going to go on to the part where there's tuplets. Okay, this is dotted. Now we're at the 30-second note duration. Like that. I'm not going to do the chords anymore. It's taking too long. Okay, so now we have a quarter note tied to an 8th note. Okay, so there's the first measure scored. Let me do the left hand. Oh, and I forgot to make sure that the left hand is bass clef. So click on the edit tab here, bass clef. Done. Okay, so now we're in the bass clef, basically the same. Looks like it's the same rhythm, so I can save myself some time and copy. Okay, paste it like that. Cool. So the same rhythms in the left hand. Got a dotted 8th rest here, and then we have a 30-second note going on here. Okay, good. There's the first measure. This is actually a complicated introduction. Like this, I'm going to talk a little bit more about Beethoven's introduction here, but just scoring this is difficult because of all the rhythms. There's a lot of different rhythms here. So actually, if Music Jotter can score Beethoven, then that's a pretty good step, especially this introduction. It's crazy. Okay, I'm going to do this next measure is actually the same exact rhythms. So what we'll do is we'll just copy and paste. Okay. Definitely doing these exercises on video on the spot is going to help me learn all the issues while I'm scoring these complex works. So that's another reason why I'm doing this. So to show you the power of the program to give you a little bit of insights around notation, but also to help me see like what I need to do to improve some of the issues. Okay, so right now I'm actually in Safari. So like, just give you some background. Developing this software on a Windows machine, but I'm doing my videos on a Mac laptop, on a MacBook. So, and I'm using Safari right now in order to score these works. What that does is it ensures that this software has a greater compatibility with different browsers. So that's partly the reason why I'm recording on a Mac but developing on a Windows. So as I see issues, I'll make sure I resolve some of these issues. And some issues could be browser specific, or they could just be bugs that I just have to address in general. And this third measure is very similar to the rest of the first two measures. I'm just going to copy and paste that as well. Okay, now we're going to score this last measure here, which contains the tuplet. Come on, music Jotter, don't let me down. Okay, so far this is easy. Bunch of eighth notes. Okay, so this eighth note is tied to this eighth note here. Okay, so now it's going to respace it again as I add notes. So these are 64th. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 notes here. 4, 5. Okay. And we have 4 more. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, but he beamed them like this. He beamed them as 5 and 4. So what you do is you hover over a note and press the space bar, or B. B is if you want to highlight multiple notes and beam them together. And I'll show you that. But for now, it's just one. Yeah, so right now it's just one note. So hover over the note, press space. Bam. Now we have a 9 tuplets. Now this is where we can use Music Jotter's tuplet system. Go to notes here. And I believe you can just click on the non-uplet, which is a preset. It's basically 9 notes in place of 8 notes. So click on that. And these are 128th 9 tuplets. So start composing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10. 10? I notated this wrong. Sorry, that's my fault. This is supposed to be 6 notes here. And then 4 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's hard to see this. Like that. Okay. And now the 9. Now the non-uplet should work. 128. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, okay. So that was just a human error on my part. Okay, so yeah, so it scores it really nicely actually for a pre-alpha release, which I'm going to talk about that in another video. But let's just quickly do the left hand so you can see how the rhythms line up. Okay, so there, 1, 3, 2, like this. You have an 8th rest, so you can have full control of your rest placements, which is nice. And there we go. That's it. Let's do some counting now, just for fun. So we have got 4 times, so there's 4 quarter notes in a measure. So we have 1 quarter note, 2 eighth notes equal quarter note. So that's 2 beats. Again, 2 eighth notes equal another quarter note, so that's 3 beats. And there's your 4th beat right here. And obviously all of these notes together add up to 4 beats as well. This is a crazy introduction. Extremely difficult to play if you didn't have a metronome, or if you didn't know how this sounded. Like if another performer didn't take this on, this would be very difficult to time. But it's a very fun introduction to play if you know how to play it. So it's definitely quite an interesting piece. The introduction is I love this whole sonata, but the introduction And then the middle section where he revisits the introduction is just a very fun piece. Very complicated rhythmically. Very complicated. So you're starting to see why I put emphasis on the tuplet. If Music Jotter did not have a powerful tuplet entry system, then this sonata would be really difficult to notate, actually impossible. You'd have to do some kind of hacks or use some kind of plugin. But it would just make it really difficult to notate. The rhythms would just not be there, basically. So yeah, even in the classical era, Beethoven made use of the tuplet, and in this case, not for polyrhythms. He used the tuplet to fit his message in one phrase rather than to break it up into multiple measures. And I believe he did this for clarity purposes. So clear writing will lead to a clear performance. And I feel like he executed this introduction, like I was saying before. It was a really awesome introduction, but I feel like he implemented this flawlessly. And in some ways, I think that this introduction is even a lot more difficult to play and notate than Chopin and even Rachmaninoff. And those are difficult composers. But this is simply due to the drastic variation of rhythms. And I can see as I'm notating this that Beethoven could be pretty difficult. Because, again, it might be easy to play once you understand the rhythms, but you need a metronome to play this correctly if you didn't hear this before, how it should sound. So, I mean, I don't know how one would play this correctly without a metronome, to be honest. You'd have to be really good with timing here. But anyway, I'm going to stop right here and say, if you are with me at this point and you are curious about how studying music notation can improve your skill, make sure you hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe, because depending on this data, I may make a dedicated series out of notating difficult works with Music Jotter. And I can only do this with feedback, basically. So if you really want to level up your game, learning from your favorite composer by critically listening to their music will help you more than you think, especially if you want to reach that next level as a composer. Music theory will help polish your music, don't get me wrong on that. But no amount of music theory can help you learn the art of creativity. Creativity comes from listening to music with a certain level of awareness. You saw how creative Beethoven got with this sonata. He didn't learn how to compose this way through music theory alone. Yes, definitely music theory helped him with writing down those rhythms and understanding how to notate. But there's too much of a level of expression in his music, especially in this specific introduction. So now let me finalize notating the intro. Okay, so we're tying this 8th note to 32nd note, like this. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 64 notes here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 4 8th notes coming up. 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 8th note here. And now let's get the left hand. 8th notes, 8th rest, 2 8th rests, 2 16th notes. And there we go. And we have a clef change here, and I have clef changing working. So let me demonstrate that. So you highlight a note, go into the edit tab, click on the clef icon here, and then just click on the treble clef, and there you go. And then click OK. And it looks like Music Jotter automatically put in the rest in the end here as a dotted quarter note. So it's basically a dotted quarter note is Music Jotter's auto calculation, but you can specifically put in the eighth rest and the quarter rest as well. So I'm just going to refresh now. Yeah. So again, let me just show you that you can specifically put in how the composer intended, if that's what you want to do. If you don't want the auto calculation to calculate it for you. There you go. You can have it like that. Okay, let's do this next measure. Beethoven, you are tough to notate. Okay. If you think this is tough, though, look at some of Chopin's works. Actually, Chopin is not too bad in terms of rhythm, but when it comes to tuplets, that's when it becomes a nightmare. So if the notation system doesn't have a good tuplet entry system, then notating Chopin is not really possible with your commonplace notation software. You'd have to use a specialized engraving. Okay, so this is a tuplet. So I'm not sure if this is a triplet. Okay, let's do sextuplets here. Let's see if that works. I might have to shut the camera off if I can't get this to work. You know what? Yeah, I know what's going on here. We've got 2 here. He is breaking up the measure, or the publisher is breaking up the measure. So this is still a 4. So it looks like it's 2/4 here, but it's not because it's broken up into the next staff, which is basically 2/4 plus 2/4. Okay, so that's what was going on here. So this, let me just, you know what, just for demonstration purposes, I don't have any way of breaking the measure up yet. Like I didn't code that in. So because of that, I'm just going to make this 2/4, and I'm going to make the next measure 2/4. But this is all good to know for my knowledge as I continue to develop the software. Okay, so this is 2/4. Key and time signature. 2/4. And we probably did notate it correctly the first time. Okay. 4/8 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bam. I'll beam that. Custom beaming for that one. Okay, let me just show you that you can change it back to the bass clef here. So bass clef. Wonderful. Okay. Oof, doing this on the spot is scary sometimes. Okay, it worked out. I did practice this before. It's just that I wasn't planning on notating all these measures. Okay, so that's why I know that this next one is going to notate for a fact. Okay, but again, we're now in 2/4 time. It really is 4/4, but they're splitting this measure up because there's so many notes. Okay, so let's do this. This one won't be too bad because I already did this already. So 1, 2, and then we have a 6, a 7, and then just 1/28. And you can just use the standard sextuplet and septuplet options that I've set for you. They work. So this is basically 6/4 time, a 6/4 ratio, and a 7/4 ratio. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Septuplet, 64 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then the rest 128. Whew, okay, that was rough, but let's just do a beat check. So remember, we're in 2/4 time. So I'm just going to do the beat check by doing the left hand. So remember, we should have 2 beats here. So we got 1 beat here, because we got 2 eighth notes equal 1 beat. And 2 beats here is perfect. Completely notated. So we are able to notate some of the more complex areas of Beethoven's works, just because of the rhythm system so far is pretty intricate in music Jotter. So that's definitely a plus when it comes to early access. Like if you want an early access and you want to start helping me figure out some of the issues just to help get this product out more quick at a more quicker pace, then that's what early access supporters will help me do, because this can be used for engraving at this point. Of course, I have to get like slurs and dynamics and all that, but that's nothing compared to getting the rhythms correct and getting the graphics to look okay. And then of course playback. I'm definitely going to put a lot of attention to playback, because I want playback to be really nice. Like as composers, we want our music to look good, but we also want it to sound good too, especially when you're trying to get people to listen to your works. So playback is going to be a big thing as well. But we'll talk about that in other videos. Yeah, so whoops, this video would probably go on for like 2 hours if I kept it as one video. So what I'm going to do is split this video up into multiple videos and just test to see if this could be a potential series. I'll try to speed up the pace of these videos, but I also want to talk a little bit about composers to change it up a little bit. If I'm just scoring notation, that might just be too boring. So, but I'm going to test just to see how this could potentially work out. So if you like this video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. This way I have an idea of if this is the type of content you would like to see. And also let me know in the comments, like what would you like to see? Me demoing music Jotter. I could demo all kinds of things. I can probably do one video 6 hours long. So there's just so much about this software that I just can't do I can't do it in one video. It's impossible. So anyway, with that said, I'll see you in the next video.